Oh, my little heart is like a little bit happy, a little bit salty, but mostly happy. It did finally snow. Now, we didn't get the 8 inches that we were promised, but that's okay. We at least got a decent snow. Hey guys, thanks for coming back to check out another video. So we are here today to do the update for the 365 days of eyeshadow challenge. I always want to call this a project pan, but it's not really a project pan, it's a challenge. So this was created by Jessica Lee. I will always have her linked in the description box, as well as her playlist for this that she has. Also in the description box, what you can find is a list of collaborators, people who are also participating in this. There are a few people on YouTube, but I think I've seen more people on Instagram doing this. So search for the hashtag 365 days of eyeshadow or eyeshadows. Whatever you were seeing on the screen is the correct hashtag to search for on social media so that you can see everyone participating in this project or in this challenge. All right, so I just want to quickly go over just like a little brief, like, not introduction, like we've already done an introduction, but the premise of this challenge is that within the year of 2021, you are touching 365 different eyeshadows. It's a really nice way to rotate through your collection. And I know to some people it might sound like, well, using only a shadow one time, like, is that really a big deal? But I think that it is. I think that it still gives you the ability to say, like, I did touch it within the year, which is impressive in my opinion. So also, if you, like me, I don't wear makeup every single day. So if I do reach for, like, for instance, within this palette that I chose to work on for January, if I reached for 4 shades for one eye look, then I still get to check off all 4 of those shades as having been used one time towards this challenge. Now you guys know too, in my intro video, I did say that I wanted to keep like tallies, a running like list of how many times I did end up reaching for any shade in particular. So that I'm going to leave in the description box as well, just so we can kind of streamline this video. But I can tell you that within the month of January, I did use every shade from this palette at least one time. So what I want to do quickly is roll the clip of what this palette looked like when we started out using it last month. All right, and so here's what the Lorac Mega Pro 2 palette is looking like after we have used it for the month of January. I think you guys can see we do have Pan right there on the shade Bisque. If I'm not mistaken, I used that shade about 11 times, I think, in order to hit Pan on it. So no surprise there. I think we all knew that that was something that could happen. So I'm a little upset that I didn't end up hitting Pan on like another shimmer or another matte shade within this palette. However, I do think that I have some really good dips forming in some of the shades, especially like the shade Sherbet and Goji right there. Although I don't know how well it's going to pick up on camera for you. So I really did enjoy using this palette. You guys know I love Lorac eyeshadows. I have raved about them in the past. I have panned the Lorac Mega Pro 4 in the past. Like, this is one of my top eyeshadow brands. However, through using this palette this month, one thing that I discovered is that my eyeshadow preferences have changed. The matte formula in the Lorac like palettes is really nice. It's very blendable and easy to work with. Their shimmer formula though, it's still nice, like I still like it, but it is a very light shimmer type formula. It is not going to be something that is like impactful, like bam, in your face. And those shimmers that are more like bam, in your face have what is what I have like been wanting to use and reach for. So while this palette still does have a place in my collection and I still really do enjoy it, it was just interesting to note that my tastes have changed. And since my tastes have changed, I didn't dip into this palette to create a lot of like looks just using this. I really did end up using this palette this month more as a companion palette, which I think is fine. So I only have one picture to show you where I did solely use this palette in an eye look. So let's quickly go over that. All right, so the picture you are seeing, what I have in my transition area is I first took the shade Sherbet, which is kind of like a muted kind of gray purple color almost, but it's very light. It does lean more cool tone. And then I took the shade next to it, Goji, and blended that into my transition area as well, but not bringing it as far up as I did the sherbet shade. And then on my outer V, I took a combination of the matte shades Purple and Cabernet to deepen up that outer V area. And then on my lid area, I have the shade Soft Plum, which is just a really nice like shimmery purple shade. And then on the inner corner, I believe I used the shade Prosecco. And then for the lower lash line, it's just a combination of sherbet and Goji. So I really do enjoy that look. I think it was very pretty. I think this palette and Lorac palettes as a whole are very nice palettes to have in your collection if you are someone that's like, no, I gotta get out the door fast, but I wanna like do my makeup and look put together. Like, I think these are great for that they don't take a lot of thought process, they don't take a lot of work, and they're very like, I guess, work appropriate is a good term for it, but they're not impactful, like I said, and they don't really make as much of an impact like in pictures and in video. So, all right, so now let's talk about the palette that we are going to bring in for the month of February. I'm sure you guys think you know what I'm gonna bring in, but I hate to break your heart, so you don't know. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, earlier in the month, or like in the middle of the month of January, I did put up a video like, hey, let's turn all my Kaleidos Futurism palettes into like one big standalone palette. And that's probably what I'll use for February as part of this challenge. So I have dipped into this palette a handful of times in the month of January, and I do really enjoy this. I enjoy this as the layout. I'm probably going to keep them in this palette for a little bit longer before returning them to their original packaging. However, this is not what we are going to be working on for February. So if you caught my 2021 eyeshadow palette collection video where I swatched everything out, in that video I said I want to make 2021 have a bigger focus on eyeshadow content because it is my favorite part of makeup. And one of the things that I mentioned doing was more 3 looks 1 palette videos, but I had no idea where to start with that. However, 2 people, and I'm sorry I cannot think of who it was off the top of my head, but 2 different people did comment with palette suggestions that they would love to see those types of videos from. So instead of spreading myself too thin, I'm actually going to use those 2 palettes for the month of February, and then that way you can expect to also see 3 looks 1 palette videos with each of these this month. So the first palette that I want to pull in for this challenge for the month of February is from Juvia's Place. It is the Masquerade Mini palette, and I really do enjoy this. I love the way that it is set up where you've got these like really bright like jewel tone colorful shades, and then you've got these nice neutral shades. I can see this being fun for one, creating neutral looks, and then one, creating like just a super colorful look. But I'm really interested to see how the shades play together. So making like a neutral look with like a pop of color, or vice versa, like doing a more colorful like transition area and then maybe like a more neutral toned down like lid shade look. So I think this palette will be a lot of fun. Plus it has a lot of pinks and purples, and as we are coming into February, that just seems like such an appropriate color. And then the other palette that I will be using in order to give me, it'll give me more than 28 shades, but we'll have enough to play with to get us through the month of February. I'm going to pull out the ABH Jackie Aina palette. You guys know this is one of my favorite palettes, so I'm really happy that someone requested a 3 looks 1 palette with this because I'm just looking for any excuse to pull this palette out. So here's what this one is looking like right now. And you know, we do have Pan in that one shade up there because this was featured in my Pan Those eyeshadows, but I have some really nice dips too in some of these other shades, like especially Sponsored. So I really think that I would be able to, by pulling this into this challenge, maybe hit Pan on 1 or 2 other shades within this palette. And then I also am really interested in pulling these out together and trying to use them as like companion palettes to each other. I think that the color stories of both of these palettes will play really nicely together. So yeah, I'm really excited. I hope you guys are too. But that is it. That is update 1 for the 365 days of eyeshadow challenge. And I thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.